After countless years of buffs, a rework, and then even more buffs, Riot's last patch has finally done it. Harbor is one of the best agents in Valorant, and G2 abused him to dominate China.
But this guy's been so dog shit and a gimmick pick ever since he's come out. How does making his wall a little bigger or a smoke stick around for longer turn Harbor from Valorant's ugly duckling into Prince Charming? I think I'm in love! If you've been following me on Twitch, you would know that I've been grinding ranked, but my teammates are driving me insane. It's gotten so bad that former world champion Screwface and I have started our own coaching service at Top Frag. There, we're hosting an event called the Invitational. Signees have unlimited one-on-one access to a Top Frag coach. You book all the personalized help you could possibly need, and we'll set you up on a next step plan. You also have access to our weekly 10-mans. There's rank-separated groups so players get better reps, cleaner competition, and no more brain-dead teammates. Tier 1 and 2 pros are the only ones delivering the training, and not TikTok wannabes. Our team knows their shit. And we also give away skin bundles monthly to our largest rank ups. Just sign up quick, otherwise you're going to miss our 10-mans that we're hosting this week. So, if you're serious about ranking up in Valorant, be sure to click my link in the description and join the Invitational today. I think it's funny how Riot was promoting Harbor's rework like he was the next best thing or he was going to revolutionize the meta, but he ended up being like just worse than his first version.
So then Riot said fuck it and just added a bunch of extra shit to his kit. His Cove now only has 10 seconds of downtime, his High Tide is huge, the Storm Surge gives you info with this sound cue, and his ult is now a Mega Cascade that blinds you and also makes noise if you touch it.
And now his new reckoning is my favorite part because back in Master Santiago, I was able to sit down with the devs and I talked about how Harbor's cascades should make audio cues when enemies pass through them, similar to Cypher cages.
So then Harbor could be like an initiator controller hybrid with the way he can get info with his walls.
So in my head, I like to pretend like I inspired this buff.
What I'm saying is that Riot might have overtuned this guy, and we're about to see Harbor flood other maps as well.
Because he looks fantastic on Abyss, and I don't even think this is his best map.
It's Pistol and G2 are already taking advantage of the extra health Riot's given Harbor's Cove. They're splitting A in a 3-2, which is the perfect call because XLG have 4 people stacking the left side of the map.
Lysor is screwed.
The attackers act fast by coving Cat, smoking lower, and firing a late sight recon.
What that Storm Surge and the new High Tide really do.
Valen's fallen, and maybe the Cove could have been placed a little bit more left to protect G2 more.
On Pistol, this big-ass bubble is impossible to break, having over 600 health.
Meaning, the offense should be able to safely get into vents without getting shot. Now, do an A-split like this on a rifle round, and G2 probably get turned into sliced cheese before they even step foot into vents.
But here, no one broke Leo's dart, and he's found the first blood.
Without Harbor, this split becomes a lot harder without his long-ass wall.
The recon lands. It gets broken, but Baby Bay is dashing in behind the Owl drone. All by himself, Lysor backs off and waits for his team to rotate. But look at No Man and Rarga! They've decided to push down ramp and flank G2, who don't have a sentinel. As the offense are planting and setting up in their post plant, these two wrap all the way through spawn. But can they get Leaf before Trent checks them?
XLG double push, both duelists working their way around towards the spawn, and Leaf is just not.
G2 have gotten the trade, but are being crunched from flank, heaven, and spawn. But XLG have started retaking. It's too late to push.
We'll be able to trade one back, but you still have Raga on that angle, and I don't think he's going to be red at the moment. Baby Bay trying to hold forward. Has to clear out these 2 players, but he's only going to be good for 1. Trent now swinging the corner, finding the timing. Lysor going to be struck down. Looks for a little bit more, but Happy Way will get him with the ghost. Raga's participation on that flank not going to be needed.
And now, normally I'd recap the rounds that I'm skipping, but I'm also covering the entire second half. This is a long video. Just know that G2 are making mistakes that they normally wouldn't on the rounds that they lose.
Then on the ones they win, someone steps up and makes a hero play.
I don't want to spend over an entire week writing this video. I just want to show you cool Harbor shit.
Here, XLG are on a half buy, and their plan is to push down mid in their 1-3-1, but G2 are slamming A as 5. They kick things off by insta-coving and smoking mid to show a similar plan to Pistol. But with Lysor teleporting down from Gap, he's cleared the possibility of G2 going into vents, who, by the way, have crawled up main and have sent their Owl drone towards site and has spotted Rarga. He teleports out, but G2 want to make sure A is squeaky clean.
He's going to send out the ult there.
It's a quick exit, but now you have this later linger from Leaf. Look at him.
Harbor's Reckoning covered all of heaven, this site smoke, and a back sight.
This allowed Baby Bay to fly up and over into heaven, bagging Raga, who had to sidestep out of the way of this tidal wave.
But normally as Harbor, you'd want to stop the wall at a certain point so the enemies can't push past it unless they want to get heard and then blinded.
But because G2 knew XLG weren't a half buy, Baby Bay wanted to take this fight. Now back in mid, XLG have cleared elbow, B main, ramp, bottom mid, and are ready to flank. But look at Leaf! In no way XLG expected behind this pillar.
Knows that XLG have been going on these flanks, wants to try to intercept rather than be the one that got punished. Seems like they're suspicious of it. Do have some weaker weaponry, but now Trent taking that point. He has to swing in from behind, finds the first.
Since Astra can play stars from anywhere on the map, she can hang back and watch flank, becoming one of the strongest Cypher tripwires of all time.
Trent tried forming a crossfire with Leaf, but was too late. But look at Spawn! A Happyway is totally shut out with this wall that blocks so much of Spawn. And because he couldn't kill the other two, Leaf smoking main so that Valen can beat these defenders back.
It seems like that's exactly what they're going to try to do is Valen spraying and praying, but eating a bit of damage in return. Tries to slow down to the approach, but at the same time, Happyway's able to find Baby Bay. Balance tag down the two. Still finding that elimination. It's all down to Jogamo and Leaf. Here's the rotation into the site. The time starting to get away from them. Has to go for the full stick, but Jogamo will strike in off the flank, finds that kill. Leaf wanting blood, will be rewarded with it.
Again, this whole half was littered with G2 hero plays or them not looking like themselves. Realistically, XLG could have ended this half up 10-2 if they won a couple more 1v1s.
But there also wasn't a whole lot of Harbor tech.
The coolest things we saw were this high tide being used to slice B in half, making triple and tall box useless to play behind, this storm surge that clears all the backside since it goes through walls,
and that's it. You'll see a ton in the second half.
The score is tied at 6 apiece, and G2 are spread out in an even 1-2-2. Get one, get out, peek for info, stall and anchor with a dart and couple stars.
But wait, how did Neon get up here? Huh, that's cool. And the offense probably won't expect it, since normally this is a spot for agents with vertical movement.
And they're going B! The round starts and Valen smokes to feign a ramp fight, but the offense push forward and send in their owl drone. Jog's going to get spotted up here.
But it's actually just a pretty spread formation, deep posts early. Jogamo trying to get up there.
Oh, sees the TP4, just has to back away. Drops down.
The shots couldn't connect, and G2 have elected to play retake.
And when running Harbor, that is a strong option.
So as XLG are making sure sites clear, G2 group and rotate. But are they expecting Happy's lure?
Rotation's going to be coming through. Meanwhile, Happyway. A late linger into mid, gonna be spotted, but he finds the head.
G2 can't worry about this guy and have to start their retake.
On to Trent.
Jeez.
Yeah, damage even now, Jogamo dead as well. As will be able to peel one back, so a 3v3 as the dust settles. Advance for the moment. Zoom XLGs, they look to try to hold this line. Baby Bay swinging, finds the finishing shot, but Happyway trades it. Leaf again, now on the hunt. Goes up and over the top, he's unanticipated and unread. The Cove there to try to protect Leaf, just body blocking as well as the defuse gets held up to completion. A 3K for...
Even with the player advantage, Valen's high tide was able to make this a 4 versus 4 onside with how tall this thing is.
This was Astra's POV as her team was getting mowed down. The trades happened, but notice how all of XLG played on site.
Against a Harbor who has a shield bubble with more health than Sage's wall when it's fortified.
The offense can't afford to play back and spam the spike, especially with pistols.
Then pile on this high tide that slows you if you try to push it, and even if you pop his cove, you'll never know if the defense are really off with the defuse.
His kit is kind of like an Astra ult.
So if the enemy Harbor is still alive, your team needs to play up and fight to disrupt their retake. Waylay tried swinging in heaven, and these two got pinched from rafter and top site. That left Happy behind pillar, but he was useless.
By the way, if you're tired of waiting for my breakdowns to come out, go check out my second channel, T2.
What? Why?
If this shit happens again, this is a video. I don't give a shit. This is a second channel video. I don't give a fuck. This is a second channel video. There, I post next day analysis on some of the hottest and most exciting matches happening in VCT. Or if you want to watch me break down matches in real time, then check out my Twitch or my live YouTube channel. These places are where I host watch parties. So why not come talk to me, ask me questions, or just hang out? I want to meet you guys. Links in the description.
On XLG save, they went A. But G2 didn't want to take any chances at getting thriftied, so everyone bought a weapon, meaning the offense didn't stand a chance in these fights.
Still, G2 very well set up for a clean anti-eco. Raga revealed, taken down, Baby with that outlaw on hand. Seems like maybe Jogamo getting a bit of a read of this one. Just sliding forwards, turning around, he's trying to find him. Eventually we'll be able to do so, not before Valorant falls, but the cleanup will be swift. 4 players surviving, G2.
But I have another theory why G2 bought so many Spectres that isn't just they didn't want to get ecoed. It could be that there's just a ton of smokes between these two teams. I'll talk about it in a minute.
With their 4 SMGs, G2 are formed in a 0-4-1.
Now, you might be thinking, SMGs from this range? Are they drunk? No.
They're going to use their smokes to close the distance, but then burst on anyone holding bottom mid. And it looks like XLG are headed that way. The barriers fall and both teams start smoking. Fish, Top Cat, bottom mid, and Leo's Recon instantly get shot.
The attackers see these scary spheres and feel awfully suspicious.
So they turn around and head towards A, grouped as 5. And now as they're walking towards site, G2 get close to their smokes before Trent pins a Recon deep, allowing his team to stun, slide, and swing through, spamming the smoke in case anyone is hiding.
Now, if you're the offense and hear all of that in mid, it's safe to assume that most of the defense are supporting that push.
So XLG speed up, smoke, drone, clone. Baby has survived this bombardment and is ready to play retake with the rest of his team.
Now, here's where my theory comes into play.
Normally retaking with 4 Spectres and an Outlaw versus XLG's 5 full-buy rifles is a recipe for disaster. But when you have a high tide to cut sight in half, all of a sudden, these long-range fights don't exist. And the Spectres have a better chance.
Unfortunately, Valen blew his wall trying to stop the offense, but that's okay, because G2 have a lot of smokes.
And since XLG don't have anything to hold flank, the entire defense have elected to retreat and retake through their side of the map, hoping that the noise they've created would be enough to threaten a lurk. The offense move in, see Valen Star, tap the spike, which baits out Util. Neon even cuts the site in half before sprinting back to slide out from spawn. XLG need to plant, but they gotta have someone on their team go big to alleviate some of this pressure.
Nice and early. Frack now down, the push forward, no man on the peak, able to find one, Jogamo eliminated. Leaf desperately trying to find that kill, eventually we'll be able to do so, but now it's gonna be Baby Bay eliminated as well. 3v4, attempts the wide swing, but Lysor able to find the track. Valen, however, stinger in hand, comes up with 2.
While his team was funneling through spawn, Valen used that noise to pop out of heaven behind the protection of his site smoke and lined up 2 kills. Now it's a 1 versus 1, and both players can go anywhere. What is their decision?
1v1, the spike never planted. So Leaf just backs away, he dips out of the site.
I got the spike.
Does he go for a full rotation? Where does Raga feel that he can plant this the safest?
Oh, no way.
Does he also
No way.
maybe think that he can cut across? He's pouring all the way around. Leaf tucking in over towards mid. Raga, does he peek the angle? He's gonna have knife out and Leaf plays it to perfection. Another 3K.
Losing your first full buy is devastating because now XLG have to save, meaning that G2 can build up their confidence, ult, money, and vibes.
So despite it being just a save for XLG, they need to do damage here to make sure G2 can't have everything.
Their plan is to clearly slam A, while G2 are playing as far back as possible, trying to abuse their weapon advantage.
The barriers fall and both teams exchange a shock for a recon. The offense get chunked, but also a main. In response to the recon, Valen is sent over his cove to make it look like the defense are contesting the area. So the attackers hop inside, whip out their Sova drone, and pull back their star so it doesn't get shot instantly. Trent shocks again to try and slow the attackers. Whaley dashes in, but look at Harbor's high tide.
Follow-up gonna be sent in. No man, not quite landing there in tower. Trent will get revealed, but just tucks back, sends out a drone of his own up and over the harbor wall, gets a spot onto a couple of players. They do backpedal as now, here comes the drop down, and Trent able to find the timing. Raga not reading that he was being flanked out of that position, ends up onto the wayside. This Baby Bay looking for another no-scope, this time won't be able to find it, but it's gonna be...
Because Harbor's wall is so tall now, Trent's owl drone was able to come out of heaven safely, clear hell for Valen, and find out that he won't get shot from main if he drops. So as soon as Valen got his, Trent fell, got his, got out, and then Whaley flew over the offense to drag the crosshairs off of her teammates. This allowed Valen and Trent to follow suit and finish the job.
Because Harbor doesn't have strong stopping power like the other controllers, he really only has two options.
Retake or flood in.
But when he has his Reckoning like Valen does here, he becomes the best side anchor in the game.
This round, G2 have left Valen on his own to hold A. Trent's getting info at mid, but is starting on gaps so that he can quickly rotate to Heaven and pepper the offense with darts, and they have a strong 3-person stack on B.
But how are they going to adjust to XLG's mid pressure?
Well, they start by sprinting upstairs and ripping a recon through Valen's Cove and double smoking Gap and Fish.
This means that the only safe spot to gather information from is the left side.
But because of Leaf's early star, the offense are hesitant. Raga is walking out Cat on his own, focused on that falling smoke, but he ducks into vents, not wanting to get tagged by Trent's drone. Behind it, Baby has reclaimed mid for G2 by inserting himself behind Books.
And now in XLG's mind, they've created a ton of pressure in mid and vents.
Their decision now is to go A, but to pile on one last mystery, Lysor fakes his from the shadows.
Normally by doing this, you threaten that you could have teleported into the enemy spawn.
But with Trent in this position, he doesn't hear anything. And Baby has snuffed out XLG's default. Valen smokes main to deter a push while he's checking over his shoulder, but once he hears the drone, he doubles back.
It's a drone to lead forward. Cosmic Divide going to be called in from Happy Way. It's Valen sending out the ult, but gets the hit onto No Man. Just push.
XLG are stuck! With this Cosmic Divide, Valen recognized that the offense wanted to try and plant on bridge before running back into A main to spam the spike.
But once Harbor's Reckoning starts charging at you, you have to run away.
The only map control XLG have is this little cubby. And because of that commotion, Babyface boxes him in by pushing down mid. Valen walls to stall even longer, activates his armor so he can reposition after just throwing it from the right side, and now what do XLG do?
Trent just now arriving. Paranoia sent through, but Valen still holding close, turns the flash, and has two of them lined up. Looks for that fourth, runs out of bullets. Is Lysor able to hold his own? It would have to be an ace clutch.
30 seconds.
Remaining.
10 seconds left.
And just tuck in along the wall, set up another smoke, and try to stay safe, try to stay protected, but Jogamo is sprinting in around the back. He pursues in a bit deeper, might be able to find him. Pop of the Nebula now will dissipate. Lysor holds his own to find a 3K, and does nearly manage to get that ace, but he cannot find the round win.
XLG are forced to take a timeout. Guys, you need to... Is coach saying something? Coming out of their timeout, XLG have picked the perfect time to split A after inserting their waylay into Heaven.
With Leaf's Cosmic Divide, it looked like G2's plan was to play retake. No Man had Heaven, the offense planted, but they didn't have great guns.
Lysor was the only one with a rifle, so he had to make a play. His decision? Deploy the most interesting side smoke I've ever seen.
Players now on the site itself. Draga trying to fish for something there with that Sheriff up over the top. Lysor with the Phantom, able to find Jogamo, the push forward into the smoke, gets Valen as well as Trent gets taken down with the Hunter's Fury. It seems like this time the timeout call working a treat as a Leaf will trying to tuck into that cubby. Will just get picked apart. Baby Bay stopping it from being a flawless, but will not be able to hold.
That round forced G2 to half by, where Valen pushed all the way down mid, got into elbow, and Baby Bay wanted to fight A with his refract.
Valen's doing.
Baby, there's that refract. Sees the dash, and he's right there in front of No Man.
Yeah, Baby Bay's waylay isn't great. I broke it down more in this video here, or I don't really know my own schedule, so maybe it's not out yet. Regardless, subscribe so you don't miss it.
But from there, the offense walked all the way up mid, and with Valen slotted in such a good spot, Leaf didn't expect this.
Would almost certainly be dead to rights with the Stinger at this range, but then again, if anything, anybody can work a miracle with that gun. It would.
With those 2 kills, XLG have found themselves a second win in a row.
But lucky for G2, they have 4 big ults to plan around in this next full buy.
Look at the map, and it seems like they're fighting A and retaking B in their 2-3, but XLG have 3 going B, but 2 are holding mid, including the spike.
What are they doing?
Well, G2 make the first move by smoking both bottom mid and A main, and the offense send a gate crash up, clone, and pull back a star on ramp.
This commotion has convinced Valen and Leaf that it's B, so they've released their flood smokes.
Now, if you're the offense, are you pushing through this? Especially when it slows all movement abilities? No! No Man briefly dashes through it, but back on A, the defense have darted and jump spotted through their cove, realizing that A is empty.
Let's see if he spots anybody. Happy Way nearby enough, but loses the fight. Slide across, Jogamo plants his feet. Eventually is able to clean up the kill. Meanwhile in mid, Trent takes down Araga, and now the Daze is there, saturated from the ult. Baby Bay able to collect Lysor, that leaves just No Man. This time needs a 4K. Watch G2. Will be getting themselves up to map point. There's the first. Looks for the second. Won't be able to have it. Trent will shut him down.
I think XLG's plan was to try and fake B to bait out one of those 4 ults, then rotate to mid to try and pick off a mid-rotate who's going over to retake.
But all they got out of G2 was Harbor's High Tide, which is basically an Astral. Baby and Jugamo soiled their plans with some nice shooting. G2 then recognized what was happening after Trent saw Lysor's butt, and Lysor got violated by Jugamo using his fast lane to get to stairs to create a crossfire. Then pylon this convergent paths and Asher stuck, and he couldn't move.
By now, you should understand that Harbor's great at 2 things: retaking and flooding.
The only time he can truly anchor a site is when he has his Reckoning active, as the Storm Surge doesn't last for very long, while the previous does.
Oh, and would you look at what Valorant has?
He and Leaf are anchoring B, while these 3 fight up on A main again.
And XLG are grouped as 5 to run right into the tsunami.
They start by having Lysor instant TP into elbow to lurk, while the rest of XLG scale behind their owl drone. The Leaf peeks and breaks it, but the offense aren't stopping.
Setup coming. Slowed up just a bit.
They're finally trying to attack into this B site. Hunter's Fury going to be opened up. Leaf Fallon able to find one.
Well, that didn't work. When Harbor has his Reckoning, you can't really push his site.
And to make matters worse, Trent was in vents ass blasting the offense as they were trying to support their duelists up ramp. But look closer, and I think Lysor was 3 years late to throwing the smoke for Waylay to dash into.
So that probably didn't help.
Then back on A, Baby and Jogamo have pushed out again.
G2 have XLG boxed like a fish, and getting out will not be easy.
Oh, there's that entry power. That dive dispatched.
Wait, why don't you use that drone?
Okay, well, now these guys have to stop their double flank and have Baby hold mid with his rifle, so Jogamo can get close behind quad. XLG, in the meantime, have been cut off from sight again thanks to Harbor's High Tide, but do have one more out. Lysor turns and sends a Dark Carver all the way into G2 spawn and activates his From the Shadows.
Does he stick it?
Staring at this position, but turns away from it, and that's when Jogamo finds a gorgeous timing.
Ooh.
Another solid shutdown from Lysor. Seems to always have his number. Needs so much more.
But Baby did good to not commit to this fight. Had he died, he would have given up G2 so much map control, and XLG would have been able to go back to A for free.
G2 still had the attackers boxed, and they need to do something. So Happy smokes Fish to feign mid pressure, turns back to sight, and oh look, they're still smoked.
And Happy Way and Lysor been the top 2 performers for the squad thus far on this map. Have everything to do, and Valen has another timing. And okay.
If you haven't played Harbor, then you need to start. This guy is so good.
Just, don't play him like Lau did. Those guys blow, and I lost my shit. If you want to see a Harbor disaster class, watch this video right here.